Have you ever seen a movie trailer that has a really awesome action scene, jump scare, joke, whatever and it piques your interest? Well, I'm willing to bet that you go to the theater with the expectation of seeing that clip within the context of the film. I know I personally do. Or maybe a trailer leads you to believe that a film is going to be in a certain direction, and you get excited to see that film's direction, and as soon as the movie starts, you wait patiently for that scene to come up, only for it to never show up. You sit there in your chair after the movie disappointed, frustrated, and curious as to why the trailer is so different from the movie or why that scene wasn't in the final cut. Well, my fellow listener, you have been fooled, or for lack of a better word, tricked into believing that that film was going to deliver on what the trailer promised. Now I bet you're asking, well, how could a studio do that? Isn't that wrong or considered false advertising? Well, yes and no. Today my guest and I are going to discuss how misleading trailers can affect you and the movie trailer or the marketing material that it represents. Hey, what's going on, Sweaties? You already know who it is. It's your favorite internet sweaty, your boy Mikey Savage 21, bringing you another discussion. But this time it's a special discussion because I actually had to get some help to talk about the subject of misleading trailers and how exactly they affect your movie-going experience. And today I have my special guest, Chris Hacker, reviews with me. Tell the people what's up, Chris.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much, Mike, for having me on the channel here. Similar to what Mike does on his channel, I like to review movies, television series. I want to get into eventually top 10s and in-depth discussions, similar to what we're doing here with this video. I'm relatively new to the YouTube community, but I'm looking forward to working more with Mikey and hopefully getting some of you guys over to my channel at Chris Hacker Reviews. So let's go ahead and get into it, Mike.
All right, and as always, guys, I'm going to make sure I have a link to his channel in the description. Make sure you go down there and send the man some love because he does some really awesome content. All right, so on the subject of misleading trailers. So basically, a few weeks ago, the movie It Comes Out at Night came out. And everybody was all hyped to see it. You saw the different trailers, and it led you to believe that it was going to be this specific type of horror movie. One that's got a lot of scares in it and all kinds of things. People go see the movies, the critics, they absolutely love it, but then they look and the audience score is really low, and it actually showed because it didn't even crack the top 5, and then the following week after that, it still wasn't near the top 5. And it wasn't going up against too many power hitter movies. Well, basically, most fans agreed that what they were promised in the trailer is not what was delivered on film. Like, for example, now this is going to contain spoilers if you guys haven't already realized that. But basically, It Comes at Night. It is a horror film, but it's a different type of horror film, basically. Basically, though, you don't know what it is. We are left to believe that it might be the virus or it might be some kind of creature. We never see what makes the dog sick. We never see what makes the other people sick or the effects other than what happens to the main character's grandfather. All those flashbacks that you saw of like the goop coming out of his mouth and the girl sitting on top of him, that's all dream sequences and everything. And then the ending itself is pretty ambiguous. It's clear that Travis is basically dead now, and that his parents are also infected, and they're just sitting at the table wondering when they're gonna die as well. And so basically when people saw the movie, and I know I can say this with my audience that I saw it with as well, a lot of people left out a little bit mad because they thought it was going to be really horrifying and really scary, but it was a different type of horror. It's more so a horror of what people can do to each other. Kind of like with Don't Breathe. Don't Breathe isn't necessarily a straight up horror film, but it's more about the horrors of what you don't see or what is to be expected behind closed doors. And so, Chris, I basically just want to get your thoughts, man, on It Comes at Night. In general, what did you think about the film, and what do you think about the trailers? Because I know seeing the trailers, I skipped the second and third trailer because I heard that it showed too much from the movie, and I wanted to go in as fresh as possible. And after going back and watching the trailers, I can honestly say that it does set up this specific type of horror film that we are used to Blumhouse or some of these other films showing up to be. but it's like a completely different film. So what do you think about this, Chris?
Well, Mike, honestly, I'll be completely honest with you here. With the recent horror films that have come out in the past 5 or 6 years, I have not been super excited about really any of them. You know, the Annabelles, your Conjurings. Even though the Conjuring was pretty good, there's another great example of a trailer being misleading. But sometimes, well, most recently, a lot of these movies just haven't really. They just been very bland and kind of cookie cutter. You got a lot of your jump scares and all that type of stuff. And with It Comes at Night, when I first saw that trailer, it had me hooked. Just everything around, like A24, the studio behind It Comes at Night, they've been just batting 1,000 with some of their movies, especially with Moonlight. I'm not sure if you had seen that one, but
yes, I have seen Moonlight.
They really take a lot of time and effort into the cinematography and kind of like the art of filmmaking. So I went into this movie super excited. I think It Comes at Night, and not only the movie and the trailers, but the poster. I don't know if you're familiar with what I'm talking about here, but the poster of just the dog and then kind of like the woods and the darkness in the background. And then it said, at the very top of the poster said It Comes at Night. Just the marketing in general for this movie was, it grabbed me, and I think it grabbed a lot of audiences. And just like you had said, the horror in the film isn't exactly with the virus or a so-called monster. It's more about what humans can do to other humans when they're pinned up against the wall with, say, loved ones or themselves in danger. So
right.
I agree with you. When I went to go see it, and I really wanted to like this movie a lot. Everything about it, that some of the actors that were in it, especially the leading role, who I can't think of off the top of my, is it Joel? What's his name?
Joel
I
Edgerton.
loved him in Warrior. I've loved him in almost everything that I've seen him in, and I was excited to go into this, and I left kind of almost just perturbed in a way. I didn't know what I thought about it. Like, my brain wanted me to tell myself that I didn't like it, but everything about it outside of the plot amazed me. I loved the way the film looked. A lot of the sounds in it was great. But like you had said, a lot of the trailer was was Travis's dream sequence throughout the movie. So, when it comes down to it, if I really had to give it a grade, and I had anticipated to review it on my channel, but I ended up not, because I honestly still don't really know how I feel about it. I want to say that they left too much on the table. It was too ambiguous. I love a movie that, will ask questions, but I don't think there was any answers to the questions that they were asking. So when it comes down to it, I don't.
Right. Exactly.
I'm not sure that the trailer was awesome, but like you said, it does not reflect the movie at all.
All right, and I actually did get an opportunity to review it on my channel, and I saw that not a lot of people commented on it, which is kind of weird because, usually people have something to say about the movie, and I guess a lot of people were also didn't know how to feel about it. I mean, I did overall enjoy the film. I was a little shocked that when I got to the end of the movie, I was like, this isn't scary like I thought it would be. And I even tried to make myself scared. And you can ask my friend, she went with me. I was like trying to, get real tense and whatnot, and trying to make it scary. But as the movie kept going on and we got towards the middle of the movie, I'm just kind of like, this isn't scary. This isn't like the type of horror you would get from like the Conjuring franchise, or maybe with Annabelle, or even with Lights Out. Basically, this is like a different type of horror. And if you kind of think about it, it's kind of similar to the other A24 picture called The Witch. The Witch also had the premise and trailer thinking it was going to be this specific type of horror movie, and then when you watch the movie, it's more of a slow burn movie. It's not like a action-paced horror movie, basically, and it's still, the ending itself is kind of somewhat ambiguous. But basically, the director, Trey Edward Schultz, he basically came out and he said that this film was supposed to leave a lot of questions unanswered. It was supposed to be ambiguous as to what it is, whether it's the virus or the people or the horror itself. What was the dog barking out? And it left us with a lot of questions. And people often ask him and say, well, do you plan to do a sequel, or are you going to do like some extended trailer or do some extended scenes on the Blu-ray release? And he's like, no, the movie is what it is. He's like, it's supposed to be like that. And I feel like audiences nowadays they don't want it to be too ambiguous unless you're going to make a sequel and answer those questions. Trey Edward Schultz does not plan to make a sequel. So we're still going to basically be wondering, okay, what ended up happening to Joel Edgerton and Carmen Ejago's character, Paul and Sarah? It's implied that they're sick. How long is it going to take for them to die? It's implied that Travis is sick and that he has died. We obviously saw what happened to Christopher Abbott's character of Will and Riley Keough's character of Kim. They were ultimately killed in the film. But who else? Who else is infected? Who else is going to show up to this house? And then it also, getting back to the trailer, it also led us to the premise of that red door. Something evil is behind that red door. And there are a lot of questions to answer, like, who brought the dog back in?
Yes, please. That was my biggest thing in the entire film, was there at the end when Travis wakes up from the night and the door is open, and that question is never answered.
And it's implied that maybe Andrew opened the door. Maybe he heard like the dog outside scratching at the door. He woke up and opened the door. But like they also, Will pointed out in the movie, he's not tall enough to reach the locks on the door and open it up. So in that case, who opened it up and who let the dog in? So that's another ambiguous thing that Schultz said he does not plan to explain. So in a way, I kind of see why people are upset and mad about this movie. Same with The Witch, another A24 film, also had controversial endings, but audiences seem to be more okay with that movie because we do eventually see The Witch and we do have a better understanding. But this is so ambiguous where people are basically not enjoying this. And getting onto the lines of, is this necessarily false advertising and can they do this? One other example that I have is the Predators trailer. When I saw the ending of the Predators trailer, when I saw, what's his name, Adrian Brody's character at the very end of the trailer, he had all the dots on his face, and it was implying that there was going to be multiple Predators in this movie. Well, we got multiple Predators, but when that scene came up in the movie, there was only one dot on his face, not 5 dots. And so they led us to believe that we're going to have this confrontation where it's just Adrian Brody against all of these Predators, and at the end of the day, it only ended up being him versus maybe one Predator, with all the subsequent Predators getting taken out by the other people, basically. But basically, people do this all the time. They put certain trailers or together, or they put certain scenes in to get people hyped up, and then when you see the movie, it's not in there. Another example of that could be Get Out. One of the interesting scenes that I saw that personally had me interested was the scene where where he was basically in a dark room, and then he like turns on like a flashlight or turns on some kind of light, and then he sees some skeleton looking thing coming straight at him. When the movie was
like the bull or whatever it was.
Exactly, the deer. And so when And so when I saw that, I was like, oh man, it's gonna be awesome. Then when the movie came out, I was like, where is it? I was like, did I miss it? I said, did I close my eyes and blink and it's gone? It wasn't there. Now I haven't seen the deleted scenes yet because I did pick up the Blu-ray, but I haven't seen the extended scenes, so maybe it's on there, and maybe the director has a reason for not putting it in there, and hopefully he'll say that in the commentary. But as far as Trey Edward Schultz goes, he has said that this is the definitive version and that he does not plan to answer any questions. So answering the question of, is that false advertising and shouldn't studios frown upon that? That's also a loaded question. Yes, studios should not do that, but ultimately a trailer is supposed to grab your attention and get your butt in that theater. And once they have your money, they don't care whether you like the film or don't like the film. Obviously, they want you to like the film so they can make sequels and turn this into franchises. But when it's like these one-off films, as long as they make their money, they could care less. So it comes at night. I think it said it had a budget of $2.4 million. And as of right now, it looks like it has a worldwide total of $11.1 million. It's made its money back plus more.
Oh, absolutely.
So they don't care. I mean, Trey Edward Schultz at this point in A24 is kind of like, hey, we got your money. It doesn't matter if you didn't like the film or not. And again, critics are praising the film of how it was directed. And I think I even gave it a pretty high score. I think I gave it a a 8 or an 8.5 out of 10. I'm not quite sure, because I did enjoy the film, and I was a little upset once, you know, the movie was over with. But then when I had time to think about it, I said this is still a beautiful masterpiece at the end of the day. But I was still a little bit kind of hesitant about it, because again, the trailer wasn't what it promised. And sometimes that situation can happen where a trailer gets you all hyped up and gets you synced in and gets you locked in, and then you're ready to see it, and then, you know, the trailer either will get you into the theater. Once it gets you into the theater, it's either going to excite you even more, you see the movie and you enjoy it, or you're going to see it and not enjoy it. It's kind of, and then also on the lines of showing too much in the trailer can be talked about as well, like with Batman v Superman. A lot
Spider-Man Homecoming.
Oh, and Spider-Man Homecoming could be another great example. Everybody always said that Batman v Superman would have did even better if they wouldn't have showed us Doomsday in that trailer. All they had to do was just not show Doomsday, because then we knew at the end of the film, obviously, they were going to stop fighting and come together to fight Doomsday. They didn't have to show us that in the trailer. Spider-Man Homecoming has been showing us a lot of stuff from the movie.
That second Spider-Man Homecoming trailer is the movie. It is the skeleton of the movie. And if you watch that, you already know what's going to happen. He's gonna get his suit. He's going to go out and try to be the big Avenger. He's going to get in trouble because he's going to take on too much, because he's going to go up against the Falcon. Or not Falcon, I'm sorry. Who is it? Michael Keaton. Who's he playing again?
The Vulture.
The Vulture. I'm sorry, yes. Falcon is an Avenger. So he's going to go up against the Vulture. He's going to get over his head. Tony's going to take his suit away, and he's going to have to fight the Vulture at the end of the movie, you know, back to his roots with his regular suit and the whole thing, and learn a lesson, I'm sure. Like, we learn all that in the second trailer.
Yeah, so basically, like you just said, the premise has basically been laid out. And so you would think that, and obviously Sony has also done this before with the Spider-Man film, because remember the Amazing Spider-Man 2? So a fan actually put the movie pieces together, actually took the time and showed all the footage and put it together, and said that it was about 45% of the movie. That's almost over half of that's almost half of the movie right there in the trailer. Yep. So there and again, it becomes a question of how should these trailers ultimately be scripted, and how basically should they be shortened down? Should they not show certain things? Should trailers be honest to what they are trying to promote? What do you think about that, Chris? Do you think they should be a little bit more honest in the trailers? Because even with like Suicide Squad, we were promised this really hyped up movie. It didn't show us who the villain was. We all assumed that it was going to be the Joker, because the Joker was all in the trailer. It didn't show us any scenes of a being being shot into the sky, and that Enchantress and whatever her brother or boyfriend or whatever that creature's name was, whatever he was, we didn't assume that they were going to be the bad guys. It was implied that it was going to be the Joker. The Joker was going to be the villain, and instead he was more so used sparingly in the movie than anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and I have three pretty good examples here, and I definitely agree with you with Suicide Squad. There was a lot of I think that was hacked to the bone there at the very end. They got the Deadpool. Actually, they got the backlash of Batman v Superman. How the audiences kind of reacted to that. So I think they went back and changed a bunch, try to make it a little bit more lighthearted. And I think a lot of it got left on the cutting room floor because of that. I'll tell you one example of a movie like you were just talking about, where you have certain scenes that are definitely in the trailer that don't end up in the movie, and you're like, what happened? Is Rogue One. There are a lot of scenes, especially in that second trailer for Rogue One, where where are they at in the movie? And that was one of the bigger complaints, is why are these being put into trailers when they're not in the movie? I completely agree with you, where they should not be able to, things happen in post editing and that whole thing. You got to work what's best with the story.
Right.
But a lot of these are scenes that would have benefited the movie. One scene that comes to mind is when Jyn Erso is running towards if I'm going to paint this picture for you here, there towards the end of the movie when they're on that beach, she's running towards the spot to put the beacon in to shoot up the plans to the ship, and this X-wing, X-wing comes up and is like right in front of her. Are you remembering the scene that I'm talking about in the
Yeah,
trailer?
I'm definitely remembering that scene.
And that would have been just so awesome to see what happens in that whole scene, and that's nowhere to be seen in the entire movie. So I'm trying to think of another one here in the Rogue One trailer. I know there's a bunch of scenes that are missing, especially with Forrest Whitaker's character. There are a couple scenes in the trailer that are nowhere to be seen in the movie. That whole beginning scene with the tentacle porn, that whole part has just been hacked to the bone. You can tell from trailer to movie. So Rogue One, and that's very rare. And I'm going to segue from that to Disney being part of Marvel. Marvel movies, the Marvel Studios, has been really, really good about not giving away too much in their trailers. I mean, obviously, we've already talked about Spider-Man Homecoming. That's obviously Sony. But if you go to Marvel Studios, look at the Thor Ragnarok trailer, even look at the new Black Panther trailer, that literally gives nothing away.
Exactly.
You could go into that movie. Yeah, and they usually will. Marvel usually releases 1 to 2 trailers and a couple TV spots, but they don't ever give away the entire movie. A great example is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. You could have watched every single spot, every single trailer that went up to that movie, and you would have not known anything because they don't give away the major plot points. They give away a couple cool scenes, you get a couple jokes, but you aren't given a lot. You might usually they'll release one big moment, like Vision in Age of Ultron, or Ego being Peter's dad in the 1 or 2 of the trailers. Like they always do that, but they don't ever give away. They don't tell you the entire movie.
Right, like it like in the trailer, it led you to believe that the Sovereign were basically going to be the main bad guys, and that is true. But then once you get to the real meat of who the villain is, you see that it is Ego of the Living Planet. So, yeah,
Right.
Basically Marvel does do a great job with that, of having these amazing extended trailers but not showing too much. And you would think that since this is a shared property between both Sony and Marvel with Spider-Man Homecoming, that Marvel would tell them, hey, guys, make sure you don't show too much. And I know Kevin Feige came out. And other representatives of the movie has came out and said that you think that you know the movie, but you don't know the movie. And I'm like, I'm inclined to believe Kevin Feige when he makes comments like that, because when Kevin Feige says something, his word is ironclad. And
Right.
so maybe we really don't know the story of how this movie is going to shake out. Maybe all of that's going to happen in the beginning and whatnot, and maybe he doesn't lose his suit. We actually have no idea. Now, there are certain scenes in there that would lead you to believe otherwise. But yeah, I definitely agree. Marvel is definitely good at putting out these extended trailers and not giving away too much, as opposed to DC on the other side. And we're not trying to turn this into a DC versus Marvel fan war, so don't start attacking each other in the comment section about which is better. But DC is very bad about putting out too much. Now, they've recently course corrected with Justice League. We had no look at Steppenwolf, so for all we know, Steppenwolf is still supposed to be the big bad, but we might have someone else who's supposed to be a big bad in there that's even bigger than him in the movie. Wonder Woman didn't show us who Ares was, and hopefully everyone has seen Wonder Woman by now. It's revealed.
Spoilers.
It's revealed that we all thought that, okay, this one guy is supposed to be Ares, and then it turns out, no, It's not Ares at all. It's somebody. Exactly. And so they basically pulled this bait and switch, and we had no idea. And it ended up making the film even better because we had a surprise. And I mean, I saw it coming from a mile away, but that was just my little thing. I'm good at figuring stuff out, but we had no idea it was David Thewlis's character. Basically, when it comes to trailers, ultimately what they're supposed to do is supposed to get your butt in the seat. So if they put out some kind of cool extended thing, it's because they basically just want to get your butt in the seat. It's the same thing with Alien Covenant. Another good example would be Alien Covenant. That trailer showed you the entire movie. A lot of those trailers showed you the entire movie. Now, they did other little cool things, like they put out like the, what was it called? I think this Last Supper, they put out stuff like that. That's fine. That's just kind of like getting you in the mindset of what's going on. So once the movie starts rocking and rolling, you're not confused as to what's going on in the movie. But they did show a lot of stuff in there, and they did that obviously because they wanted to course correct for what Prometheus did. How Prometheus's trailer, it was okay, and when people saw the movie, they were like, well, where's the xenomorph? Where are the aliens? We didn't see anything, so they wanted to course correct. And so a lot of trailers do that. When it's a sequel, they put a lot more stuff out there because they're trying to get us hyped up for the movie and everything.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said Prometheus, because Prometheus, I have a couple examples here, but Prometheus is definitely up there as one of those trailers that the amount of hype that came from that trailer, because if you don't even look at Prometheus as a movie, I love the Prometheus trailer. If you don't know anything about the movie, the Prometheus trailer was just great. Like, I'm not even a huge Alien fan. I even say this in my Alien Covenant review. But Prometheus just got me so hyped. And I'll tell you, there are two other examples, and I hate to keep going back to comic book movies, but they're just that kind of resonates with me best because obviously I'm a huge comic book fan.
All right.
Two of the best trailers that have gotten me so incredibly excited for a movie are also trailers for movies that they might be in my top 5 least favorite comic book movies of all time. One of them is my least favorite comic book movie of all time, but they're both at least in my top 5. The first being Batman v Superman. The first trailer, the Will You Bleed one, the one with like the Jesse Eisenberg voiceover, and it shows like the Superman statue, and it's got in the rain when you see Batman's first mech suit and that whole thing. I remember being so incredibly excited for that because this is like the culmination of everyone's two big comic book icons coming together for the first time in a film, and Zack Snyder is notorious for having great trailers and very subpar movies. He makes better trailers than he does movies, and I think that's because he has a background in in music videos. That's where he started his career. But and he also works on all of his own trailers. But that trailer just got me so excited, and I highly suggest some of you guys go back and rewatch that trailer. Even if you're a fan of Batman v Superman, or if you're not, that's fine. But just go watch the trailer and just it's perfect in my opinion. I love that trailer so much. The second trailer that I really want people to go back and rewatch, and this is my least favorite comic book movie of all time, and that's the new Fantastic Four movie. If you go back and rewatch that first trailer, they set that up so well. I remember people being so excited for this movie, and you have Josh Trank, the director of the surprise hit Chronicle, and you got Miles Teller, and you got Michael B. Jordan, and you have all these up and coming actors. Kate Mara, yeah. Who played Ben Grimm? He's 1010. I'm trying to think. I can't think of his name right now. I don't know. But anyway, that just go rewatch that trailer, and it is so great. I mean, even now, like knowing what I know about this movie and how
Jamie Bell, and don't forget about Toby Kebbell as well.
Yeah. Well, and like knowing what I know about this movie, I still can go back and rewatch that trailer and be so just impressed by it. So those are two great examples, and I'm curious about you, Mike. What is a trailer that you've seen that you just remember being so excited for, and then being so this is obviously our own fault. We're getting too hyped up, but is there a movie trailer that you've seen that you've been so excited for, and then you go see the movie and you're just like so let down by it?
Well, recently I can't think of any that really had me really hyped up, and then I went and saw the movie, and then I was like really disappointed with it, because most time if the trailers look kind of bad, then I'm just gonna be like, this movie was kind of bad as well. Okay, I will say that I saw the movie 47 Meters Down, and when I saw the trailer for it, and they had the scene of all the sharks swimming around the cage, I kept thinking, oh man, we're going to see a whole lot of sharks. No, we don't see that many sharks. We see maybe 2 sharks swim by at the same time simultaneously once in that movie. Spoiler alert for everyone who hasn't seen it. And I was like, where are the sharks? I came for the sharks. Look, Claire Holt, Mandy Moore, I'm glad y'all are in it. I don't care about y'all. I came to see the sharks. Where are the sharks? And then we'll
Right.
have like sharks every once in a while, and then I'm just sitting there like, where are the sharks? You promised the sharks in the trailer because
Hey,
all you showed us in the trailer was sharks, and then when I see the movie, I'm like, where are the sharks?
there you go. There's some more misleading trailers for you right there.
So I would have to say that would be one. Um, okay, another one, Rings. Well, no, I take that back. That trailer didn't have me hyped up at all because I didn't expect much from Rings at all. Same thing with
Right.
Resident Evil: The Final Chapter.
Yeah.
On the line of horror movies, the last horror movie trailer that I got really hyped up for, and then I end up seeing it and I didn't like it, probably The Bye Bye Man. That's one. Oh my goodness gracious. The trailer for The Bye Bye Man really had me going. It had me really interested because I was like, oh, we have this character and you can't say his name, or if you say his name, you become infected with this curse and it's passed on to everyone. And I remember I was so hyped up for that movie. And then I
Yeah.
was like, okay, well, it came out in January, and I said, well, you know what? Maybe it's still going to be a good movie. Maybe this is going to be the exceptional horror movie, kind of like Paranormal Activity and the Mark ones. I thought that was
Yep.
actually a really great January release when it came back all those years ago. So I thought,
Oh,
okay,
absolutely.
and I said, maybe this is going to be the same way. And then I see the movie, and then the movie's over with, and I'm just like, can I get my money back? Because this movie was horrible. It was horribly directed. It was horribly acted. The Bye Bye Man and the lore and the concept behind him were cool. It's just everything in the movie with him was bad, especially his CGI dog. But I remember I was so hyped up off of that first trailer I saw. And then I kept saying, don't think it, don't think it, don't say it, don't think it. I'm like, yes. And then after the movie, I'm just kind of like, yeah, don't see it, don't watch it. Yeah, don't see it, don't
Right.
watch it. Don't see it, don't watch it. That's what I kept telling all my friends. Don't see it, don't watch it. But I have another buddy who felt the opposite way. He loved the trailers and loved the movie. And I'm like, well, hey, man, at least you loved it. I said, I surely did
Right.
not. But no, I think that was the last trailer that really had me fooled and had me really hyped up, besides the 47 meters down trailer.
Well, and we talk about here trailers that mislead you and the trailers end up being better than the movie. I have an example here of a trailer that was actually worse than the movie itself, and that would be 2011's Drive with Ryan Gosling. And what this trailer, and I'm not sure if you know the trailer I'm talking about here, but what the trailer kind of suggests is like a high octane type of like Fast and Furious type of movie, and it was not that at all. And I think it was for the better, honestly. Those Fast and Furious movies are fun, and they're purposefully dumb and kind of vanilla in a way, I guess you could say.
Basically, superhero films with actual humans.
Right, exactly. I mean, Vin Diesel can like rip a door off of a car for some reason.
Or he
But
can stomp his foot down on the ground and make the earth beneath him crack.
yeah, and or catch a 4,000-pound engine falling from the sky, from the top of a garage. But
Or
either
get
way,
into fights with different car iron things, and he's supposed to be a grease monkey, and The Rock is supposed to be this trained military guy, yet he's able to fight on par with him several times throughout all the movies.
right? Well, and see, there you go. These are the type of things that the Drive trailer was kind of suggesting that it was. And in reality, this movie was a very intelligent, moody, kind of like a neo-noir type of kind of a slow burn type of romance, and almost like I don't know, it was just so incredibly smart and well done, and just nothing what the trailer was suggesting it was. And I think what the company, or I'm trying to think who the company was that made Drive, but what they were going for was they wanted those Fast and Furious crowds in there, because every Fast and Furious movie makes $1 billion. So they wanted butts in the seat, but in reality, people are going to be disappointed when they go see this movie because it's a smart, intelligent, thought-provoking movie.
And I remember seeing Drive and thinking, like you said, it's going to be this awesome car chase movie. And then, it ends up being this totally different movie altogether. And you know, Nicholas Winding Refn, I mean, he redeemed himself later on with that. To me, he redeemed himself with the Neon Demon, which is an awesome movie itself, where the trailer sets up exactly what's going on in the movie. You're getting this Black Swan type of feel. So he redeemed himself with that. Now, as far as Drive goes, it has been a while since I've seen it. Unfortunately, it's not a part of my collection, and I love Ryan Gosling, and I try to get everything that he's in. But yeah, basically, it was more so about this love story set in a neo-noir crime type film. And even looking at the poster right now, it looks like it could be a neo-noir film, with the word Drive written in pink, and then you have Ryan Gosling with the glove on, and then you have like the black and white tilted lens that they're looks like they're using for the poster and everything. So yeah, it even looks like one, but then, you know, the earlier posters, you know, made it look like it was going to be this big action movie. So you guys are probably wondering, you know, getting ready to wrap this discussion up, is how are studios able to do this, and how are they able to get away with it without it being considered false advertising? Well, in the case where it's something like Rogue One, where they just did a bunch of reshoots, and ultimately they said that they took those scenes out because they felt like it didn't fit with the tone of the story. They wanted to basically change the ending and give our heroes more of a heroic ending, as opposed to Jyn Erso running up to a TIE fighter and basically getting shot to death. They wanted to end the movie in a different type of way. And so trailers basically ultimately what they're supposed to do is they're supposed to get you in the theaters. That's what they're designed to do. Whether they have to put in scenes that end up not making it on the floor or ended up in the final film, that's what they're supposed to do. And they get away with this because ultimately it's done its purpose. It's supposed to represent something that's going into the theaters. And even, like, for example, with the Transformers, most of the trailers have been awesome, and then you go see the movies, and then they're awful. Except with this last one. The trailers have been bad for the last night, so I don't know what to expect out of this movie.
I just got back from the last night, and, you know, I am not a fan of the series, and it's probably the worst one in the series. And I'll get into that. I have a review coming out for it tomorrow, so hopefully everyone listening to this discussion here, and I know Mikey's going to put out one eventually when he sees it as well, but I'm going to have a review out either tomorrow or Wednesday about this. And man, this might be my first F movie of the year, and I'm being completely serious.
Oh, I've had a bunch of F films this year. Bye Bye Man, like I just mentioned not too long ago, was one of those movies, and Ring was a close second to being an F, and then followed by that was Resident Evil, the final chapter. Oh, yeah. Thank goodness for James Wan, and he's rebooting this franchise.
I'm excited.
And quick plug, guys. Quick plug real quick. Make sure you go check out my discussion where I talked about the Resident Evil reboot and what I hope to ultimately see from this reboot. And will they borrow from the storyline of Resident Evil 7, being with the whole one isolated place as opposed to trying to be a grand scale film and going all around the world, focusing on one spot. But no, basically trailers are supposed to get you hyped up for the movie. They're supposed to get you hyped up for the film that they represent. Then you go see the movie, you pay your hard-earned money, and that's how it goes. Now, from what I've heard, most theaters are willing to give you your money back within the first 30 minutes. So if you see a movie and it's putting out a totally different vibe, go get your money back. If you can't get your money back, just try to endure it, and you might still end up enjoying it as well. Then also there is the practice of just not seeing trailers at all. Maybe watch a teaser trailer, and then just from there, just don't watch anything else, and then to go in with an open mind and you don't know what to expect.
Mike, you're absolutely right there. That is exactly what I do now. I watch the first trailer, and I do not watch any of the rest. I don't care what it is. Comic book movie, horror film, anything, a documentary, I don't care. I watch one trailer, and that's it. I try to stay away from any other thing, so I want to go in with an open mind.
Right, exactly. But all right, guys, that's going to end the video for here. I want to thank Chris Hacker for coming on and dropping some knowledge on you guys. As you guys can see, he is a real faithful comic book sweaty. He loves to talk about all things comic book related. And if you've seen his setup, you can definitely tell that he represents his comic book sweaty comic bookness to the T. All right, so Chris, man, give the people a quick plug and tell them where they can find you at, man, on all the social media sites.
Well, first of all, I want to go ahead and thank Mike so much for having me on the channel. I really do appreciate it, and I really do hope that everyone that's listening here goes over and checks out the channel. I know Mike's gonna put a link in the description or wherever he decides to put it. Come over to subscribe. You know, my whole reasoning for having the YouTube channel is not to become famous or get rich off of it. It is honestly to just build an audience enough to where I can have a conversation with you guys, and that's what it really comes down to. Because just like I put in all my videos, almost, I'm not an expert with any of this stuff. I'm not a critic. I'm just a guy who really enjoys film and all my hobbies, really. So I would really enjoy you guys to come over to the channel, check out a couple of videos, you know, share it if you enjoy it, give it a like, you know. But what most importantly, I'd love for you guys to send a comment down, you know, give me some ideas, tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like, especially, and that's really what I want to get out of it. So, like I said, the channel is called Chris Hacker Reviews. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, obviously, and go check it out. I really do appreciate it. And like I said, thanks so much, Mikey Savage 21, for having me on his channel.
Anytime, man. Anytime, man. Well, all right, guys. Make sure you go subscribe to this channel as well so you can get the latest information and discussions that I do. I often have special guests like this come on. Hopefully, I'll be getting reel-to-reel productions to become joining me on a discussion here soon. Also, if you enjoyed the video, please make sure you like, comment, and share. And also, if you do subscribe to this channel, both my channel or Chris's channel, make sure you hit that little bell so you can be notified every time when we drop a video. That way you guys can watch it as soon as it drops. But thank you as always for checking out this video. And as I always say, remember to become a savage, stay a savage, and peace out, y'all.